As I look upon these tags, I think, what the actual hell am I about to get myself into? Alright, let's go. Ever since the beginning of the game, Ouma has found himself drawn to a particular person, Shuichi Sayahara. He quickly got close to him and felt less dead than he ever did. He hoped they would both get out of the killing game alive. Well, we saw how that ended out. He could feel the end of the killing game was near, and he wanted to talk to Sayahara about everything, maybe even admit something that's been bothering him since the beginning. Oma is waiting for Sayahara to arrive. He's sitting in the cafeteria and has been quietly humming nothing in particular for the past few minutes while playing with the knife. He soon saw Sayahara entering the cafe. He put the knife at the table and got up, kissing him as soon as he walked over. Oma gestured to Sayahara to sit down next to him. They started talking about various subjects. Both of them wanted to make it out alive or at least let the other survive. Soon, Sayahara started dozing off. Oma looked over at him and blushed. He thought Sayahara's sleeping form was cute and he smiled. He softly petted Sayahara's head. Petted is not a word. The longer he looked at him, the more turned on he was getting. He wanted to look at Sayahara's beautiful sleeping form forever. He remembered the knife in his hand and got an idea. He tried debating the positives and negatives, but the positives outweighed the negatives, or so he thought. First off, by killing Sayahara, he's effectively ending his own life too. In the end, the chances of him actually surviving were 0 to none, and Sayahara would only be left suffering if he survived, but Oma didn't. Oma quickly grabbed the knife from the table and stabbed Sayahara in the abdomen, causing Sayahara to jolt awake. He quickly put his hand over Sayahara's mouth in order to shut him up. Sayahara soon began coughing up blood. Oma carefully dragged him to the floor and stood over him. He took out the knife and licked it clean. He put it next to him, as for it not to get into the way. He looked at Sayahara's face, noticing the fear in his eyes. Oma smiled sadistically, and he put a finger into the knife wound, sticking it in deeply and moving it around. He put in another finger. Sayahara's muffled whimpers only turned him on more and more. Sayahara quickly glanced over at Oma and noticed the bulge in his pants. His eyes widened in fear, which Oma noticed, it giving him an idea. He got up and walked to the kitchen counter, getting the tape he soon wrapped around Sayahara's mouth. Why do they keep using Sayahara? Seeing Sayahara show so many emotions only made Oma grin more and more as time went by. He started taking off Sayahara's pants as he started struggling, trying to stop him, but to no avail. He took off his own pants next and pulled out his dick. He spread Sayahara's legs a bit. Seriously, why do they keep using Sayahara? Why can't they use his or him? Like, why the fuck do you always have to use his name? And the weakened boy tried to fight. Oh, now you use something that isn't his name. But without much success. Oma put a finger up to Sayahara's asshole and moved it around a bit, stroking his dick with his free hand. He pulled out his fingers and used both his hands to hold Sayahara's legs apart, slowly pushing in with his erection. However, he couldn't go in all the way as he was stopped by something rough. Oma grinned. And what do we have here? He quickly pulled out and shoved in his hand again, reaching for the solid substance. He grabbed it and carefully pulled it out as Sayahara moaned. Please don't be what I think it's going to be. Of course it is. As soon as he got the shit out, he stopped and looked at it for a moment, then continued to bring it up to his face and into his mouth. He slowly ate it and noticed Sayahara looking up at him. Oh, do you want some too? Here, I'll give it to you. Ouma moved the tape from Sayahara's mouth and forced the crap into Sayahara's mouth, putting back the tape as soon as he got it in. That's better. Anyway, Ouma turned his focus back to Sayahara's entrance and put his dick in all at once. Oh, all at once, you say? Moving as fast as he could. Ouma moaned loudly as he slammed his dick into Sayahara, and he soon climaxed, some of his cum leaking out of the hole and onto the floor. Ouma could feel Sayahara's exhaustion as he had been bleeding for some time, and he pulled out. He grabbed Sayahara by the hands and pulled him onto his knees. He looked Sayahara in the eyes, then back at the wound, putting in his fingers once again, spreading them around as much as possible, trying to see how wide it could get. Satisfied, he took hold of his dick and put it in, Sayahara's muffled screams only making him put it in faster. He started moving, the softness of the flesh and organs and the warm blood making his dick harder by the second. As he thrust into the wound, he looked at Sayahara right in the eyes and got an idea. He smirked, a certain glint in his eyes, and he reached for the knife. He put it in front of Sayahara's face. As soon as Sayahara started shaking his head with all the power he had left, he stabbed above his right eye and moved the knife in a circular motion, causing the eye to slip out. He got off the brain, holding it to the body, making it fall to the floor. Ouma took it and lightly squished it, after which he licked it. Then he put his hand behind his back, carefully sticking the eye into his asshole, holding it so he could feel he was close, and before coming, he quickly pulled out and grabbed Sayahara's head, and slamming it down and slipping his dick into the eye socket with high precision. He came inside, the cum mixing with the blood and the white falling out, making it look like tears. The eyeball finally fell off Oma's asshole, covered in shit. He decided to come back to it later. How long is this? You guys like putting me through pain. You're sadists. Ugh, God, there's more. As he was holding Sayahara's limp but still breathing body, he noticed the knife he had dropped and decided that finishing Sayahara off is the only thing he had left to do. He took the knife and stabbed the top of Sayahara's head with full force, smashing the top of his skull into pieces. Jesus, is his skull made of glass? The knife going right through the brain. Ouma pushed Sayahara's body back a bit, feeling the extremely weak heartbeat, and he's still alive. And he tried his best to shove his dick into the hole in his head. The sharp edges of the skull cut his dick, and his brain kept pushing back against his leg. He moaned the more the sharp fractures hurt his dick, and he let out a cry as he finally fully made it in. He started moving Sayahara's head. He could feel the soft ridges of the brain stimulating his penis, and, mixed in with the pain, he had never felt anything better. He finally reached climax, and as he grunted, he let out his final load. He stayed like that for a bit, and with a certain warmth leaking out of his body and into Sayahara's brain, he pulled out, letting the liquid contents spilling out. He looked at his boyfriend with a soft smile on his face. He sighed and softly kissed his now dead boyfriend's forehead. He deserved way better than what he had just done to him. He decided to do the last thing before cleaning him up and putting him in a somewhat respectable display. He cut off Sayahara's dick and put it to the side, then scooped up some of the leaked out cum and pee to one spot. He got up and went to the laundry room and got a towel, and then returned to clean up what he had left. Once that was done, he carefully tried his best to clean up Sayahara's body, putting his pants on and smoothing everything out the best he could. Once he managed to do so, he took both of Sayahara's hands and put them on his chest and leaned in for one final kiss. He got up and went to the kitchen to grab a shaker. He put the eyeball, the dick, and everything that was left from the scene into the cup and turned it on, making a smooth mixture. He chugged it all in one go and wiped his mouth. Then he exited the cafeteria, but not before looking back at the body one more time. Tomorrow's trial sure will be fun. God, there's still more? Why is there more of this? Only an utterly messed up in mind could kill someone in such a cruel way. It had to be the mastermind, and I think I know who that is. They pointed to the exact spot Kokichi Ouma was in. The horrified faces of everyone in the courtroom finally made Ouma, who was silent the entire trial, crack a smile. He started laughing and it only got louder and louder, sounding more and more maniacal. At that point, the guessed he had no other choice but to admit it. That's right. I'm the one who killed Shuichi Sayahara. But as you all probably suspect, that's not the only thing I did. Ouma smiled as everyone looked at him, pure terror in their eyes. No, not only did I kill him, Amonokuma walked over to Ouma, handing him a button. He pushed it with satisfaction. All the screens in the courtroom showed a video of yesterday's events. I did all of this to him. As for your mastermind theory, I'm sad, but I must admit that I, Kakichi Ouma, am indeed the mastermind behind all of this. He pressed the button again, stopping the video, and threw the remote away. I see you're all still processing what you've just seen, but do not fret, for you have the rest of your lives to think about it. As for me, Ouma sighed, reaching out in front of him, I guess I have no choice but to finally fulfill my dream of dying. Despair. It's the only thing I've ever cared about. The reactions people make when being affected by despair are so much more interesting than the ones caused by positive emotions. Except when I met Sayahara, he was truly different than everyone else, and I'm sad his life had to end this way. Anyway, Oma smiled softly, a contrast from his maniacal smile. It was fun playing this game with all of you, but now I must say goodbye. Hope all of you live pleasant lives in the name of despair. Oh, and just so you know, your killing game, including this video, was being broadcasted to the whole world. Not that there is much of it left anyway, but that's the story you'll find out for yourself. Omar pressed the button in front of him. Goodbye, he uttered, and before anyone could say anything to Oma's speech, he was already executed. As everyone was still recovering from their shock, one of them saw a button that Oma had left behind. They went to it and pressed it, as it didn't matter whether it would save them all or kill them all. Suddenly, a rumbling noise was heard, and the huge doors in the trial room was open, letting sunlight all of them had missed so much. As everyone walked over to the exit, the weak sunlight told them that even though they had been through so much, maybe, just maybe, there was hope in fixing up the messed up world Oma had created and freeing it from the despair had created. And they would try to do it even if it was the last thing they ever did. I